So this is Bhavani, Senior Lecturer from Department of Physiology, SR Medical College, Ramapuram. So today we are going to see about transport of oxygen. So how this oxygen it is going to be transported inside our system. So the transport of oxygen is mainly transported in two forms. So one is the simple physical solution form, the another one is in the combination with the hemoglobin. So the oxygen is transported by the blood from the alveoli to the tissue. So as we have know about the diffusion of gases, the oxygen and carbon dioxide has been diffused inside our system. So based on that, this person is going to be carried out inside our system to give proper oxygen supply to all your cells and tissues present inside our system. So the volume of oxygen in atrial blood is 19% and in the venous blood it is 14%. So the oxygen is transported in the blood by two forms. So one is a simple physical solution form, the other one is a combination with the hemoglobin. So next, the transport of oxygen as simple solution. So oxygen dissolves in water of plasma and it is transported in the physical form. So the amount of oxygen transported in this way is very negligible. It is only 0.3 ml per 100 ml of plasma. So in this physical form, only 1% of this will be taken part. Okay. So the oxygen will be transported in a simple form. So the next step is they're going to move it with the help of an hemoglobin. So the oxygen combines with hemoglobin in the blood and it is transported as oxyhemoglobin. So where the Hp plus O2 which gives HbO2. So we call this as an oxyhemoglobin content. So the maximum amount of oxygen is transported in this way only. So physical form just mainly 1% will be transported in that form, but 99% it will be transported in the hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin form. So where they combine with the hemoglobin and it will be transported. So 1 gram of hemoglobin carries 1.34 ml of oxygen. So this is called oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin. So this combination is only physical combination. No oxidation reaction takes place here. Only oxygenation will be taken place over here. So oxygen combined with the iron in the heme part of hemoglobin. Each molecule of hemoglobin contains 4 atoms of ions. So the ion of hemoglobin is present in the ferrous form. Each ion atoms combines with one molecule of oxygen. After combination, ion remains in the ferrous form only. So only oxygenation, no, not oxidation. So 1 gram of hemoglobin carries 1.34 ml of oxygen. So the normal hemoglobin content in blood is 15 gram percent. So the blood with 15 gram percent of the hemoglobin must carry 20.1 ml of oxygen in 100 ml of blood. But the blood with 15 gram percent of hemoglobin carries only 19 ml percent because the hemoglobin is not fully saturated with oxygen. It is saturated only 95%. So 19 ml of oxygen in 100 ml of blood. This is called oxygen carrying capacity. So this we call it as an oxygen carrying capacity of your blood. So the 19 ml of oxygen in 100 ml of blood it will be carried. So 1 gram is 1.3 ml, 15 grams is 20.1 ml. So the atrial blood has only 95% of oxygen, hence only 19 ml. So the percentage of saturation of hemoglobin is oxygen content by oxygen carrying capacity into 100 ml. So at the atrial end it is 19 by 20.1 into 100, which is 95% saturated. So this we call it as your oxygen carrying capacity. So next, oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. This is very important. So the relationship between the partial pressure of oxygen and the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen can be explained graphically. So this graph is called oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. The saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen mainly depends upon the partial pressure of your oxygen. So this we call it as your oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. Okay, so here you can find shift to right and shift to left. Where the curve rises till 50, after that what happens, the curve either it can be shift to left or shift to right based on your oxygen affinity towards your hemoglobin. When the pH of your blood falls, we call this as an Bohr's effect. So based on your oxygen hemoglobin affinity, the curve either shift to right or shift to left based on the normal curve. So So usually this curve is a sigmoid shape, not linear, because all the 4 atoms of iron do not combine with oxygen immediately and simultaneously. If they do so, then the line should be vertical. So the combination of is a stepwise process, and the affinity for oxygen is different at different steps. When the partial pressure of oxygen is 25 to 27 mmHg, the hemoglobin is saturated 50%. That is, the blood contains 50% of oxygen. So the partial pressure at which the hemoglobin saturated is 50%, which we call it as your P50. At 40 mmHg of pp of oxygen, partial pressure of oxygen, the saturation is 75%. It becomes 95% when the partial pressure of oxygen becomes 100 mmHg. So this curve is shifted to left or right by various factors. So first, shift to left is mainly due to the acceptance of oxygen by hemoglobin, and shift to right is dissociation of oxygen from hemoglobin. So shift to right. So shift to right when it occurs is decrease partial pressure of oxygen, increase partial pressure of carbon dioxide, increase in your hydrogen ion concentration, that is the acidity based on the acidity, and increase body temperature. So due to these reasons, the curve might shift to right. pp of carbon dioxide is very high and the pp of oxygen is low. Due to pressure gradients, carbon dioxide enters the blood and oxygen is released from the blood to tissue. The presence of carbon dioxide decreases the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen. This enhances release of oxygen to the tissue, and the oxygen dissociation curve is shifted to right. So this we call it as your Bohr's effect. Thank you.